Well, hello, retro game players. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Marcus, and welcome to the third installment for the Nintendo Entertainment System. This time, we're looking at the top 10 games of 1987. Get ready to rock.
ドラキュラ伝説にピリオドを打つのは君だ。コナミからついに登場、ファミコンディスクシステム用ソフト悪魔城ドラキュラ好評発売中。コナミ
Alright, so 1987 was very good to the Nintendo Entertainment System. This list is a testament to that. I must say too, thank you so much for you guys watching this series. I honestly wasn't sure if you guys were going to dig it or not. And here we are on the third episode for Nintendo. If you missed the top 10 for 89 for Genesis, check that out. If you missed the PSP for 2005, check that out. I'll be doing more. But 87 for Nintendo is a wild year. So coming in at 10 is a game that I remember renting based on the arcade experience. So my local town had a arcade in the mall. I'd go and this arcade machine was there. It was definitely a fun one. It's a shoot 'em up, and here it is, Tiger Heli. Now Tiger Heli is pretty freaking brutal, but a lot of the early Nintendo shooters are. I mean, most of them are. They're just tough, all right? But it's a really cool sort of, you know, action experience where you're a helicopter, top-down vertical scroller. And it's pretty brutal. I did play it on the channel once, so I'll, you know, check that out. But yeah, this game is a lot of fun. I remember playing it an entire weekend, trying to get further and further. And it's probably one of my favorites as far as an early shoot 'em up on the Nintendo. So that's number 10. Let's check out number 9. Alright, we've got a Konami shoot 'em up here, and this one is actually a sequel to a very popular series known as Twinbee. For some reason they renamed it for North America to Stinger. Now this is a really innovative style shoot 'em up. I have to tell you, it's one of the most addicting shoot 'em ups I've played, and even on this list, out of all these games, because I've played all these games so much, this was the one that I honestly could not put down, and it was infuriating but fun, and it just kept me playing. In fact, I may be playing this later today because that's how much I enjoyed it. So the premise is Twinbee is usually like a vertical shooter, but this actually toggles between horizontal and vertical, and there's lots of power-ups scattered throughout the levels. There's these yarn balls that you shoot with this like heart thing that comes out of the top of your ship, and you can juggle these power-ups, and as you turn them and flip them and juggle them, they turn into better power-ups. So the longer you're able to do that, the better of a power-up you'll get, and it really balances the risk and reward of that sort of dynamic. And it's just awesome because it's like, well, should I keep going? Should I keep balancing this? Or should I just take the double blaster and move on, you know? And it's intense because meanwhile there's stuff coming at you from every direction. It's a classic shoot 'em up. Also, the story is really weird. In this version, it's like simplified. I think in the Japanese version, it's a little more in depth. And the professor, I think if I'm right, is like Professor Cinnamon or something like that. In the North America version, it just looks like it's maybe the president of Konami is captured by aliens or something. It's this weird cutscene. But yeah, it's a great game. I highly recommend this one, and that's why it's coming in on this list. But yeah, let's move up to number 8. Number 8. Alright, so this next game has a phenomenal soundtrack, excellent gameplay, beautiful graphics, and it's a game that when it first came out, I actually didn't get into it. I don't know why. The cover was not very appealing to me. I was just like, I don't know. Then later I got this calendar, sometime around 1990, and it was a Nintendo calendar that had crazy cool graphics with all of the Nintendo characters and different games, and this was in there, and I remember thinking, that game looks pretty awesome, I have to check that out, and here it is, Kid Icarus. Now, I'll tell you what, this game's tough. It's really fun. Basically, you go vertically up through these levels. It's a platformer. You've got a little bow and arrow. And as you go, you can either kill the enemies, or if you want, you can just kind of go by them. You know, that's fine. But if you do kill them, they drop hearts, I think most of the time. And those can be used to buy things in various little shops and stuff. But what you want to do is basically get to the top of each level. And it's actually really tough. It can be really fun though once you get the hang of the platforming. You can also run from one side of the screen to the other by running off the screen, kind of like the first Mario Brothers and, you know, some of those other games. But yeah, it's so vibrant. The colors are so like nostalgic for me. Just playing this game and seeing the different colors and the levels are just so eye-popping, you know? So anyway, Kid Icarus is awesome, the soundtrack's great, and that's why it comes in at number 8. Let's move up to number 7. Number 7. Okay, the next game on this list is actually one of my favorite series. I love the newer games on Dreamcast, for example. I can't get enough of this style of gameplay, and it's Gauntlet. Now, Gauntlet is a game that I played sometime around 1988, actually. I remember going to a friend's house. He had this. He was like, dude, you got to check this out. We played this game all night, and I'll tell you, it's tough. It is so tough, but it's a great co-op game. You know, and each character that you pick, there's 4 different classes. Each one has different, you know, attributes, you know, and I always played the warrior. He was the one that would get in there and get down and dirty. But yeah, I mean, it's just such a great game, and the idea is to go through each dungeon and destroy all the portals. Now, you don't have to do that, but these portals are, you know, spawning all these different monsters, ghosts, demons, whatever. But if you destroy their portal, then they can't come out of that portal anymore. So it helps you to do that, but you can just sort of run to the exit in some cases. But other times you kind of want to explore and try and find, you know, health and things like that. The problem with this game, and one reason why it's so hard, is that your health is constantly going down. Like, even if you're not getting attacked, like, it's just sort of like trickling. The good news is that you're able to get a lot of it back at the end of a level, so that's cool. But yeah, this game is so classic. It's a blast to play. It's such an early dungeon, you know, crawling type adventure, and it's just great. I mean, the arcade game is really good, but this is a great port. So if you haven't played Gauntlet, check it out. And of course, if you haven't played any of the other ones like Gauntlet Legends, check those out too. Those are awesome games. So there you go. Let's move on up to number 6. Number 6. Okay, so this next game is extremely nostalgic for me. In fact, if it was based on that alone, it would be number 1. However, there's other games that are a little bit better, so that's why this is down here. But I'll tell you what, I remember when I rented this game sometime around 1989, my mom watched me play this game, and she was like, this music is awesome. And she was right. This game has amazing music. Every single track in this game is amazing. In fact, for those of you who don't know, I've been doing music for a long time, and in 2006, I did a CD, and on that CD, I actually remixed one of the songs from this game. So, I mean, I love this game so much. Here it is, Wizards and Warriors. Now, this game is extremely fun to play because each level you go around, you find diamonds, and you collect them to eventually pay off this like knight guy, and he'll let you progress. That's not super easy to do, and some of the levels, which are all pretty well designed, have like hidden doors or different doors that need keys, so you'll find a key on one area and you'll have to go and backtrack. And anyway, it's absolutely really fun. There's also really good platforming that happens too, where, you know, you'll get like jump potions to make you get to areas that you couldn't get before, and you know, boots that let you walk through, you know, different things. I mean, it's just a great game. I can't recommend this one enough, to be honest with you, but some people are turned off by the first level. That first level is a little weird. It's not how the rest of the game really plays out, at least, you know, at least the way I look at it. But I love this game. I love the soundtrack. And check this out. The developer was Rare. So if that tells you anything, I really think this game's awesome. The sequel is also one of my favorite games. So I love this series. I love anything like that. Also, there's an overworld map, just like Ghosts and Goblins. So it's just got a lot of style to it, you know? And that's why it's here. Now, before we move on to our top 5, we've only got 5 left. We've got a word from our sponsors. Let's check it out. All right, we've only got 5 games left, and this one's coming in right at the top of that list. I'll tell you what, it would be higher up. However, this game to me is not only extremely tough, but it's not as refined as its sequel. But I will say it's an excellent, excellent game. Here it is, Mega Man. Now, Capcom made an amazing game with Mega Man. The artwork, of course, on the cover is extremely wacky. But aside from that, the gameplay, the music, it's excellent. You can do pretty good on this game if you're not an expert at platforming, but it gets pretty tricky. I mean, you can choose, you know, right at the beginning which level and boss you want to start in on, and that really will sort of, I would say, you know, dictate how your gameplay is going to be. You know, I mean, if you're really good at the Bomb Man stage, then great. You know, if you're great at the Iceman stage, then great. But if you're not, you're gonna suck, and you're gonna have to come back to that later. I actually really like that sort of dynamic where you choose, you know, what level you're gonna take on. I just honestly feel like the second game is so much better in my mind. So this one has an iconic soundtrack. It is so good. It is like one of the best soundtracks on the NES. So it's hard to say, you know, anything bad about it that way. The gameplay is definitely, you know, unique, and at the time it was very cool, which is why I think it spawned such an awesome series. But yeah, anyway, Mega Man from Capcom, that's number 5. Let's move on up to number 4. So this next game is a game that everybody pretty much knows. I love this game now. I will tell you that back in the day, I went over to my friend's house. He had like 10, 15 games on Nintendo, and this was one that we didn't play because his dad was always playing it. He was always hogging Nintendo, always playing this game. And here it is, The Legend of Zelda. Now, I'll tell you what, this game's classic, okay? It's just that I didn't get into this series until Link to the Past on Super Nintendo. That's when I got into the series. That's when I went back and started playing these other ones. This is an amazing game for its time. And if you're into, you know, RPGs with an action element, it's classic. You know, I mean, you go around, you explore. It's definitely fun. I really don't want to knock it in that sense. In fact, the music is so amazing. I did cover the title theme on this channel, and that's like one of my favorite songs. So I'm a fan of this game. It's not going to be higher than number 4 in my book, but it's a great game. And I of course love the gold cartridge. I think that that's also very cool. So there you go, Legend of Zelda. If you haven't played this, I'm not sure if this is the best one for you to start on. I always say Link to the Past is one of my favorites, and then of course the N64 games, I really love those. So that's sort of, you know, to me, the bread and butter of Zelda, you know. But coming back to this and the sequel, they're good. They're just not something that I'm like actively wanting to play on a Saturday now, you know. Anyway, it deserves to be on the list. Let's move up. We've only got 3 left. What are they? Let's check it out. Alright, coming in at 3, we've got a game that I rented one weekend with a buddy of mine, and we played until we beat Mike Tyson. This is Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. In the background, you're seeing footage from Punch-Out. Basically the same game, except Mike Tyson, Mr. Dream, they were switched out because I think Nintendo lost like the contract or the license with Mike Tyson's name, so they actually released this game, which doesn't have him in there. Still really cool. It's still a great game. If you're not familiar with this, it's an awesome arcade style, fighting game, I guess. I mean, it's kind of weird. It's like a different style of a fighting game. But, your little Mac, you've got a trainer, you guys are going the distance, all right? And if anybody was a fan of Rocky back in the day, this was basically like that perfect, movie style game. Every character that you fight are super cartoony, very animated, super cool graphics, like really cool graphics on the Nintendo. I have to tell you, this might be some of the best graphics you'll see on the Nintendo. And it's just tight gameplay. I mean, really, really great. I did beat Mike Tyson at one point. It was the day after we'd been playing it all day, so it was like that morning. I woke up Sunday morning, I beat him. I couldn't believe it. I've never beat him since. But I just remember thinking, like, that was insane. What did I do? My friend, he couldn't beat it. His friend's brother could beat him all the time, over and over and over. But he's very tough, and he blinks to telegraph his punches. Anyway, classic game, really fun to play, and I can't recommend this one enough either. If you don't know Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, go check it out right now. You will not be disappointed. So there you go, that's number 3. Let's move up to number 2. Alright, the number 2 game is a game that scared the hell out of me when I was a kid. My friend's dad, he was busy playing Zelda, which is, again, a great game, and we were playing this whenever he was done playing with the Nintendo, Castlevania. Now, I'll tell you what, I love this game for many reasons. The music is maybe one of the top. In fact, I covered Vampire Killer on the channel. If you didn't see that, check it out. But gameplay-wise, story, the actual vibe, the atmosphere of this game is just phenomenal. Now, you're going after, Dracula, you're Simon Belmont, you've got a whip, you've got other power-ups you can get. This is one of those games that takes practice, but once you get the hang of it, you actually can do pretty good. I actually really like the gameplay of this one. Just something about it, all in its tight little package of just awesomeness. But I'll tell you, it really did scare us. I remember we were playing this in a garage one night on a black and white TV, and it was just freaky. Like, I mean, we're in the middle of a garage playing it on this old TV, and we're just like going through these levels, getting freaked out, hearing noises. It's a cat, hearing a garbage truck, whatever. I mean, holy crap, man. This is an amazing game. If you haven't played Castlevania, check it out. This is a great series as well. So most of the games are relatively good. I'm going to just stop there because I don't want to get too into it. But there you go. That's number 2. Let's move on to the top game on this list right now. Number 1. Alright, so that was 9 awesome games from the Nintendo of 1987. This top game deserves to be here, and I'll just tell you a quick little story about this. My friend was playing this. We were at his house. I was watching him play. His mom came into the room, okay? She had gotten him the game, I think, a week before that. She'd never really watched him play it. She sees the game images. She flips out, turns the NES off in this crazy, fit, pulls the game out, and gives it to me, okay? And says that he can't play this game anymore, and she kicks me out. Okay, later on I found out it was because she said the game was satanic, alright? Now that says a couple things about this game. One, she thought it was too dangerous or satanic for her family. However, it was okay to give it to me and send me home with it. Now what's even funnier to me is that my friend would just come over to my house at that point and play it over there. But I'll tell you, getting a free game from your friend's parents is one of the coolest things that could ever happen to you as a kid, okay? What's funny about this is it's Metroid. And I'm playing Metroid, as a kid thinking, this is satanic? This is like a space adventure. I don't really understand. But whatever, I'm not going to try and understand that. The bottom line is this game has an amazing soundtrack. It's a great story. It's an awesome sci-fi story, awesome sci-fi adventure. You can unlock different power-ups, missiles, the ball ability, bombs. You know, you explore this map. I mean, this kind of started that, you know, sprawling map, you know, where you would have to go and unlock different things to find, you know, new ways to different parts of the area. You know, this is such a fun game. Metroid will always be an amazing series to me. I've played through pretty much all of them, honestly. In fact, behind here I've got one that's a very cool version by Bishop Brothers, and he made this game with a map and a save feature, so that is really awesome. So whenever I play, I usually play that. But there you go, guys. Metroid, what can I say? It's a phenomenal game. Maybe it's a little satanic. I don't know. You know, what can I say? But thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know what other games from 1987 you would add to this list. Now, again, this is all North American release dates, so, you know, that's what I'm going off of. But stay tuned. I'm going to be doing another one on Genesis coming up, so thanks for watching. Until next time, you know what to do. You keep that shit retro by playing Metroid, the satanic game, on the Nintendo Entertainment System later on.